Hey everyone, I'm Erica.
And I'm Elizabeth.
We're sisters, wine lovers, and your hosts for the podcast Spirits Uncorked.
In season 2, we're leaving the haunted waters of Lake Lanier in Georgia and diving into all new spooky stuff. Shadow people,
I've seen them.
haunted military bases,
I've served on one.
local restaurants with ghostly reputations.
I work at one.
Okay, if something spooky doesn't happen to you, I worry about you.
The paranormal is my normal.
Plus, we'll sip and chat with horror authors, fascinating guests, and test out some superstitions along the way.
Knock on wood.
So uncork a bottle and pour a glass of the paranormal with us on season 2 of Spirits Uncorked.
Get ready for sips, scares, and sisterly sarcasm.
If you're enjoying the podcast you're listening to right now, and you've got a love of the paranormal, then I'm Rob Kirkup, and I think you might enjoy my show, How Haunted. Every other Friday, I take you to some of the most haunted locations across the UK, with the occasional trip overseas, as we explore the dark history behind each place, and the terrifying ghost stories said to haunt them. Across the year, there are seasonal specials too, including Christmas episodes packed with real listener ghost stories. And every October, the podcast goes weekly, a themed month building towards a big Halloween spooktacular. You'll also join me on real paranormal investigations, ghost hunts in seriously unsettling locations, with audio from the night so you can hear what happens as it happens. So if you're ready for creepy locations, grim history, and stories that follow you long after the lights go out, search How Haunted wherever you get your podcasts. And join me as together we ask, How Haunted?
Welcome back to Supernatural Japan, the podcast where we explore the eerie folklore, ghost stories, and unsettling urban legends hidden throughout Japan. I'm your host, Kevin O'Shea, and tonight's mini story begins with something so ordinary that most people in Japan never stop to think about it. The blue and white pedestrian crossing signs found on streets all across the country. You've probably seen them before. A tall adult figure holding hands with a small child walking side by side. To most people, it's a simple image meant to symbolize safety, family, and protection. But according to a chilling Japanese urban legend, that sign may actually depict something far darker. The story goes that many years ago, during the creation of a new traffic safety campaign, a photographer was searching for the perfect image to represent pedestrians crossing the road. Now, day after day, he waited near parks and sidewalks, hoping to capture a natural moment between a parent and a child. And just as he was about to give up, he spotted what appeared to be a father and daughter leaving a park together at dusk. The pair walked hand in hand beneath the fading evening light. The man wore a hat pulled low over his face, and the girl looked strangely nervous. As they passed, the child briefly turned towards the photographer. Some versions of the legend say she looked frightened, and others say her eyes slightly pleaded for help. But before the photographer could react, they disappeared into the crowd. Now, some versions of it actually simply have the man taking a photo of this father and daughter crossing the road and they never looked at him at all. Now, the image was perfect. He submitted the photograph to a contest and eventually became the basis for Japan's now famous pedestrian crossing sign. But weeks later, the photographer saw a horrifying story on the evening news. A young girl had been kidnapped from a nearby neighborhood. the suspect had demanded ransom money from the family. And when the parents failed to pay, the child was murdered. As the suspect's photograph appeared on television, the photographer felt cold with realization. The man on the news was the same man from his photograph. The father, holding the little girl's hand, had actually been her kidnapper. And according to the legend, the moment the little girl looked back at the camera, she was begging to be saved. And ever since then, some people in Japan have claimed that pedestrian signs feel unsettling at night. Urban explorers and paranormal storytellers sometimes joke that if you stare too long at the sign under a flickering streetlight, the child no longer appears to be walking willingly. In some tellings, the figure seems distorted, less like a parent and a child and more like something dragging a victim away into the darkness. Now, why does the sign look so creepy? Now, some people say that the man in the sign resembles a Slender Man type character. The strange, abstract shape of the man, often described as having a noodle arm, an oversized hat, and an alien-like skull, is simply due to years of physical generation loss. When the original Tokyo reference designs were distributed across Japan in the 1970s, local sign manufacturers had to trace and cut their own stencils by hand. Over decades of copying, resizing, and reproducing these physical stencils, corners were smoothed out, details were lost, and the modern, somewhat distorted silhouette was born. Or so the lore says. Now let's take a look at fact versus folklore. Of course, there's no actual evidence that this story is true. Folklore researchers generally consider it a modern urban legend, the kind of unsettling tale passed around on television specials, internet forums, and schoolyard conversations. But, like many Japanese urban legends, it transforms something ordinary into something impossible to ignore. A simple traffic sign becomes a frozen moment of horror hiding in plain sight. And maybe that's what makes the story linger. Because tomorrow morning, when people across Tokyo, Osaka, and countless small towns walk past those blue and white signs, most will never think twice about them. But now, maybe you, Supernatural Japan listeners, maybe you will. Thanks for listening to Supernatural Japan. If you enjoyed this mini episode, be sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever else you listen to your podcasts. And if you'd like to help us grow, please leave a comment and a rating on Spotify, and a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts. It really makes a difference. Now, of course, to see some photos of all the things we talked about in this mini episode of Supernatural Japan, please follow us on Instagram at Supernatural Japan, as well as our Facebook group. The links are in the show notes and over on supernaturaljapan.com. Now, I also want to let you all know that I have begun a Supernatural Japan writing project, and I hope it will at some point turn into a book. I'm collecting primary research, so interviews, emails, and more from people who have had strange, supernatural, and unexplainable experiences in Japan. Now, if you folks have a story to share, please DM me. I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it, folks. You can DM me on any social media platform I use, such as Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Facebook, or you can reach out to me via the contact form on supernaturaljapan.com or by email at supernaturaljapan@gmail.com. Bring your stories to me, folks. I want to hear them. I want to record them. Don't need to use names. I don't need to use exact locations. We can do it anonymously. Can use different names. Hey, it's all up to you, folks. I've already had a few amazing people reach out to me, and I've already done a few interviews, and I've learned some really fascinating things, and I want to share these with you. That's it, folks. I really just want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to download this podcast and listen to Supernatural Japan. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be making this podcast. So everyone, stay safe out there and pay attention to the signs around you. Sometimes the scariest stories are the ones hiding in plain sight.